Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let's kick things off. Everyone, welcome to the March 11th regular school board meeting. Let's start the meeting by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. You do need to have this, right?
Yes, I would like to propose a modification to the agenda. We received student transportation requests that will need to be approved before we meet next. So I recommend that we add that as item C on new business.
Anyone have any questions on that before we add it? No. Do we need a motion? Yep. Can I get a motion to add that to the agenda under item C?
I'll make a motion to add the new transportation. Okay, 1 second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
I will second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. We are up to recognition. This will be Meridian High School Principal Sean Doffing. For student recognition, I should say.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks. It's like, is this thing on? All right. All right. So definitely excited about this year's student recognition. Last year, about this time, the idea started floating around about a class that had taken hold around the country called Latinos in Action. And so Dr. Everett and I talked about that and went through it and decided it was a really good fit for Meridian High School. And we happened to have a really good fit for the teacher in Miss Kayla Burnson. And I had high hopes for the class. And I have to be honest that these students have absolutely exceeded all expectations that I've had. We talk so much in this district about student voice and including student voice and how important that is. And these students, this class, are just doing a phenomenal job of taking on that responsibility and thriving with it. So I'm gonna bring them up, let them introduce themselves. Can you guys come on up? We have a representative group here.
Welcome.
Hi.
All right, so if you guys, if you wouldn't mind just saying your name and then what grade you're in.
Hi, my name is Daisy, and I'm in grade 11. My name is Paloma, and I'm in grade 10. Hello, my name is Melissa, and I'm in grade 10. Hello, my name is Melanie, and I am also in grade 10.
I'm Isaac and I'm in grade 9.
I'm actually not in grade 11, I'm in grade 10.
So we've been working on registration at the high school, and so we're talking a lot about the next year. So, and then I also wanted to introduce Miss Kayla Burnson. If you can come on up. Yes.
Start right.
Come on up.
Okay.
We timed it just perfectly so she could make a dramatic entrance. So perfect. All right. So I'm gonna let Miss. Okay. I am going to let Miss Burnson say a few things about the class.
Okay, love it. I am so grateful that we were able to make this class happen. This has been one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I've told these guys a few times, like, seeing them read with our little buddies at the elementary school. And I'm seeing some of these young women here that presented for our staffs, like truly like beyond seeing the birth of my own child, like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing. So we've been doing lots of really cool stuff. These guys have been working really hard. One of our favorite things is that we are going to the elementary school every week, and we read with our first grade buddies. And so each student has their own buddy or maybe a couple buddies. And so we're in Miss Billmeyer's first grade classroom, which is like just a gen ed classroom. And then a few other first graders from other rooms that our ML students come visit us. So it's a really cool experience where we go in there. Sometimes we bring our own books, sometimes they bring books. We go to the library, and we just read. We build this relationship. We're building like this positive relationship with reading. A lot of our students have talked about their experiences with reading as young people, and some of them who really love reading had a positive adult role model who's reading with them. So that's been like one of my favorite parts. We also go play with kindergartners after that. We've been doing a lot of other things. We learn about our own identity, culture. We talk about some current event stuff. We've developed leadership skills, and I like to practice some conflict resolution. Like things have not always been perfect, but that's life, right? Like out in the world. So it's a really job skills, life skills that we're working on, how to navigate those together. And we're engaging with our community. One of my really cool thing we got to do was for a fundraiser, we sold esquites at the football game. So we get to have like some Hispanic culture food, some dish we made together. We've hosted other Latinos in Action classes across Whatcom County for an event where we did some leadership activities and we made food. And then I think most recently and one of the most amazing things I've seen was we've had some students, we work together in class to talk about some of our experiences at school, some things that have just to kind of to explore what it feels like to be a Latino student. And they shared their perspective with the staff, and it was a really, really powerful experience. We're looking forward to doing some more things. Really looking to start honing in a little bit more on some of like the career readiness skills that's a big part of Latinos in Action. And so inviting community members who have different careers out there, so we can learn about what there is we could do, how they got to to where they are, hear their story. And next week, actually, we're going to go to Western Washington for Latinos in Action conference. It was just a cool experience for the kids. We could be all dressed up formally and get to see some cool things that other Latinos in Action classes have been doing. And we spend a good amount of time too talking about our own academic success, working on it can be a nice time to touch base and make sure our grades are good, and we're trying to work on our high school and beyond plan things, and finish the year strong as students themselves.
So Kayla referenced the staff presentation that we had last Friday, and it was really one of the most amazing things that I've seen in my 22 years in education. These students just showed up in a way that I've never seen, advocating for themselves, telling their honest truths. They just did an amazing job of representing their experiences, highlighting the things that they experience day to day, the things that they struggle with, the things that they like, the things that make them happy and proud. It was just such a powerful experience. And at the end of it, the teachers got to ask them questions. And one thing I hope you all have some questions for them too at the end, because they will tell you what they think. And that's just couldn't be more proud of the role that they're taking as advocates and as leaders. So we're going to do a little snippet. We won't give you the whole presentation, but I wanted to just share a few slides with you. Just pull the sampling out so you can see some of that. So they're gonna share it with us. This was the first slide of their presentation. And I know not everybody can see it, but the way that Kayla is looking at her students is just, that wasn't on the original one, but I had to add it. It's just like, my students are so great. I just love it. All right. So the first one, Melissa.
Some of our Latinos and Asian students, something they want to do after like school or stuff like that. They want to get into law school. They want to open a bookshop. Some want to become pro boxers, graduate college, and seguir con la universidad, continue with university.
Thank you. And Isaac?
Oh, right. Okay. Some things that our Latino students are proud of is living a healthy life, keeping up to themselves, the grades, obviously. Not dying, yes, we can add that one. Almost being done with school, some of our students are, getting to that point where they're starting to approach the end, so they're proud of that. Heritage is always be good to be proud of, knowing where you come from and how you can carry that on.
Thanks. Sergio's not here. Paloma, do you mind?
So people might be surprised to know that they're really calm and open to others and that I'm not rude. Some people assume that I'm mean before they get to know me. I can speak my language. I can talk, or that I'm very artsy. I love looking at art stuff and visiting museums.
That's our panel of 5 students also had introduction slides of themselves about, their next steps, their journey, things like that. And it was really cool. Paloma, you're still up. These next few slides are, they're the things that 2 things can be true at the same time. And that just really resonated with people. So.
Identity versus listening. I want to fit in and feel like a normal high schooler, and I love and honor my culture, language, and heritage.
Daisy?
Resilience versus woman. I can put a smile on my face and get through the day, and I can be carrying the weight of a small comment that made it impossible to focus all day.
Mel?
Support versus autonomy. I might need extra time to process a question in English, and I'm still a highly capable student.
Melissa?
You have a lot of students to remember, and I feel invisible or unimportant when you call me by another person's name.
Melissa, do you want to read this next one too?
Some well-intended people might say, I don't care if you're black, brown, white, doesn't matter to me. I treat everyone the same. My identity matters to me.
No?
Left out. I feel different in a bad way when I get pulled out of class for extra help. I feel embarrassed and excluded when I get a different or extra work because you think I can't do the same work as anyone else. El no saber hablar con fluidez el idioma no puede conversar con muchos. I feel lonely when I can't speak English fluently and can't converse with many people.
Paloma?
Small moments add up over time. Maybe it was a small thing to you, but maybe it was the 3rd time that they had happened to you. Many of us have been facing this our whole lives. These things happen with our buddies at the elementary school.
Daisy?
Connection. It makes me feel like I belong when you smile at me and say hi. It makes me feel important when you notice or remember small things of us. It makes me feel seen when you treat me like a good kid, like I am kind and caring.
Sergio, I'm going to give you this last one. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sorry, I was a practice.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So my name is Sergio. I'm from Guatemala.
What grade are you in?
I'm a junior. So
Cool. Isaac, sorry, it's supposed to be yours, but Sergio, we're gonna have you.
Validation is for field student when you ask us questions instead of assuming you remember or ask how we learn the best. You care about our success. You ask us how we are doing and feeling.
All right, and then Paloma, the last one.
She cares about me. Makes sense. She is such a good teacher and she is interested interested in knowing your students. Holds that Mr. Keeley, he always cares about how I'm doing in class and my grades, how my grades are. Ms. Nichols, she always takes a minute to have a conversation with me and it's always the sweetest. Ms. Burnson for checking in. Morrison, the office ladies, Mr. Chambers, porque él me apoya en mis tareas cuando no entiendo y trata de ayudarme a comprender. All of them, I think they're all just nice people.
Thank you. They just did an amazing job of conveying their feelings, and the staff really reciprocated the emotion. I think it was a really emotional hour of our day. It was just so powerful at the end. Like everybody gave them a standing ovation, and then the panelists were so great. Like they stood up and matched it, and I could just tell, you know, it was just one of the most impactful days we had. And they've been doing this kind of stuff all year long. I'm so excited to see where the program is going, and what these students are gonna continue to do for Meridian School District. Can we give them a round of applause?
Yeah.
Can I ask questions now?
Yeah.
All different grade levels here. My favorite slide, I've looked at this ahead of time, was when it was in your own words, your goals, your dreams, your hopes for yourselves, how it'll impact your families. My husband is first generation, so I hear some very similar things. His goal was to improve the life of his entire family. How many of you would be the first person to go on to additional education?
Like in their
In your
family.
family, yeah. Yeah, and what would you like to do?
I wanted to become, I don't know how to say it, neonatalist.
Oh, okay.
Taking care of newborn babies and just, I really like, I'm really into caring for little kids or babies.
Exciting. Anyone else?
I'm the second one out of my siblings continuing school and I want to become more. Well,
And how many other schools have Latino in Action groups?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but in Wacom, there's a fair amount. There's Bellingham, Squalicum, Cedro, Ferndale. Ferndale's a big one. Mount Vernon, probably six nearby.
In the region, yeah. But they're all over the country.
Yeah,
Yes.
What's unique about Ferndale is they also have a middle school that started at elementary level as well.
Well, and I feel like that's what we're doing too, is we're reaching our fingers down to elementary by going and reading with them, which is so great. Thank you for doing that. And I want to say, when I read this at home, I cried. And then hearing you speak it tonight, I cried again. And I want to thank you for being honest. And when you spoke Spanish tonight, you covered your mouth. It's beautiful. So be proud. We're so proud of you. So thank you for being honest and telling us how you feel. And I'm glad you feel that you belong. We want you to feel like you belong. And we want to improve that. So we don't know how to improve it unless you tell us how. So thank you for all that you're doing. And thank you too. Thank you for all that you do.
You know, myself, when I was reading that yesterday, when I first started reading everything too, and I came across slide number 6, and I think you touched on it, so I'm like, oh, no, not dying, you know, everything. But I remember it was over 12 years ago, we were doing senior projects before we had senior presentations. And one gal came out to do a project, and she was from Guatemala. It was her second year at Meridian, and she just froze up. She couldn't do her project. She couldn't do anything. So we finally just asked, tell us about you, tell us about your story, whatever. And she told her story about coming from Guatemala and the challenge that she fought with her, you know, her siblings, her mom and her dad and everything said. And I mean, it was such an impactful story. I mean, we were all just interested. I'm like, well, there's your presentation, there's your project. It's about you and your journey to get here. So when I saw the thing like not dying, that's real. It's not humorous for somebody to like, oh yeah. Well, no, it was, you know, her story was almost like Janice said, had in tears, you know, so And are all of you bilingual? That just shows you are the most intelligent students that we have in our school district. You know, the fact that you speak 2 languages before leaving high school, this shows you, your community, how intelligent you all are. So we're so lucky to have you in our district. We really are.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys were on that panel at like the teacher workday. I'm assuming all of you were. But I was like talking to Holtz about it after, and he just kept like saying, "Oh my gosh, like that was so cool. It's so interesting to hear all these things. Like that felt really impactful, really valuable." And he was just like really proud and impressed by the work that you guys are doing. And like we are too as students. I don't know a ton of you guys personally. You guys are a little young. I'm kind of a senior. But
You'll be cool.
this is like a really new group, and it's so cool to see how developed and established and productive you guys are, despite only being like a year or 2 old, and doing all the things that were in this presentation, and also things outside of that we see around. So, shout out you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would love to know when the Whatcom Latinos in Action Conference is gonna be at Western.
So next Friday, the 20th, from 9 AM to 2 PM.
And is that with Francisco?
It's, I don't know if there's gonna be Western professors there. It's more like, there's like the kids get to perform a lot, and there's some workshops there. And so I'm not sure, that would be cool. So yeah, she's very impactful professor.
Were you guys connected with the Latino Advocacy and Leadership Association of Whatcom County?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Would you like to, I'd like to talk to you about it if you have any ideas.
I'd love to, yeah.
Okay.
Lala is there. Whatcom County. Francisco, who's professor at Western, is the chairperson. They're newly established. They have like 200 local partners. And he says that's new. I mean, 200 sounds extraordinary to me. But yeah, I think it would be a great partnership to have Latinos in Action and Lala.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's chat.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I would just say it takes courage to come up and speak up here, and you guys did a phenomenal job, and your story is great. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And
Great job, you guys.
just so proud of you guys, and just like appreciate you being here and just the work that you're doing. Just couldn't be more proud.
I would echo the courage and also kudos for you to take on this role without really knowing exactly what the scope of it was gonna be. And I think the courage to stand up and talk to adults, but also to represent your peers, but also knowing that you experience things individually as well as collectively. To be a voice for each other is fantastic. So, also very proud.
I want to say something real quick. I just feel very happy and that this last year, Latinos in Action finally like became a thing. I just want to say that like I feel very happy that we had this opportunity to experience this leadership class, because I know my sisters have been in Meridian since like 2018 and they never had anything like this going on. And it just like feels special that we actually have like this opportunity to do something. It's great.
Thank you for making it happen.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Cool. All right, next up will be public comment. Before we start, just a few general reminders. The total time for public comment period is 30 minutes. Each speaker has a maximum of 3 minutes. There's no mechanism where a speaker can donate some or all their time to another speaker. No individual may speak more than once per regular meeting, even if there is time remaining. Public comment period is an opportunity for the board to listen to individuals on educational issues, and board members are encouraged to listen attentively. If public comments are to express concerns about specific students, the board asks that you not name the student, as naming the student can be an invasion of privacy, violating school district policies, harassment, discrimination, bullying, etc. Public comment period is not a time for dialogue between board and the public. The board will not respond to statements, questions, or challenges made during public comment period and will have no back and forth dialogue. Please note the board sound is neutral. It is neither a signal of agreement nor disagreement with the speaker's remarks. Although the board will not engage with dialogue, the board chair may ask a speaker to clarify a question. There's also possible the school board staff will contact a speaker at a later date to follow up on an issue raised during public comment period. Okay. And we had one speaker, Mr. David Schick. Yep, right there.
Well, howdy, folks. First of all, I'm Mr. Schick, teach at the high school. Been there since 1993. It's the year 33, well, 31 here and 2 in China, but I've been going to school since I was 5 years old. So I tell my students in the fall, next year I'm going to the 53rd grade. So I've been in school a bit. Again, really thank you for being school board members. I've been a member of a HOA more than once, and it sucks. And you get to make hard decisions, and sometimes people don't like you. But again, really appreciate that you give your time to this. I represent a group called Distraction Free Schools. We're teachers, administrators, parents, community members who would, our ultimate goal is to get a ban on cell phones from first bell to last bell in schools. That's what we're all about. I shared a survey because I polled all my colleagues, the high school teachers and staff, to ask them what they saw. Do they see the same things I see? I shared those results with you via email. If you didn't get it, it's in your Meridian email. I had felt overwhelmingly when I looked at it, they agreed with me that there's a problem and it's pretty pervasive. Distraction Free Schools shares a lot of literature and a lot of information out there about what's going on with our teenagers. Our cell phones are destroying their ability to concentrate, to think for themselves. And when that cell phone's sitting in their pocket, which is largely what's going on, it's in their pocket all day long, and it's constantly buzzing them, it's tapping them, hey, here I am, hey, here I am. And so when you read through the survey, you'll see a lot of the teachers said the same thing. They're leaving the room all the time. They're leaving the room all the time. Okay, they're going to the bathroom. They're not really going to the bathroom. They're just going to be on their phones. So currently we have a policy that asks kids not to have their phone on them. But the human thing is the kid walks down the hallway like any other human being, is they're looking at their messages between classes and they go to turn into class. It goes just like that. Okay, we can stand in the hallway and just watch it happening. And asking teachers and administrators to police this is not reasonable because you're talking about hundreds of students every single period. Okay, so our policy is set up for everybody to fail. We don't really have one. Okay, there are constant cell phone violations going on across campus constantly. I would dare you, show up on campus, walk from one side to the other. You will see a kid with a cell phone. Okay, just about guaranteed. If you step into the bathroom, you'll see a couple of boys in the bathroom because they plan to meet there at a specific time. Okay, it's just the reality of where we're at. So what would I ask you to do? Well, first of all, our group had a bill called House Bill 5346. It got voted on last week, but before they voted, they gutted it. Okay, the only thing the bill says is that the state superintendent is required to come up with a recommendation by 2027 that will be implemented in 2030. So when I talked to Sharon Shoemake about this back and forth, she basically said they're not going to do anything because districts can do it on their own. So I'm sorry to say it's on you. Okay, they're totally putting it on you if you want to do something about it because the state is not going to. State leadership will not vote on anything binding, at least not in our state. So what am I asking you to do? First of all, I would ask you to visit. Come see what we see. Okay. And I don't mean just get a tour to have an administrator or a teacher or go sit in a classroom. Walk around and see what we see, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Secondly, do a little bit of research on just one thing. What happens when a school bans phones? What happens in that school? There's lots of videos out there. You just go to YouTube, you'll find examples of schools and they interview students what it happens. Ask the kids what happened when they got rid of the cell phones during the day. And I'm not going to tell you my opinion. You can see for yourself, all right? But right now, what we're doing to our kids with our screen time, with the Chromebooks, with the phones, it just feels unconscionable. Hey, my kid had one in high school too. She graduated in 2016. If I had known then what I know now, I would have never put one in her hands. She tells me the stuff that just makes my, it just makes me cringe. She tells me she'll never give one to her kid. She knows better now because she went to high school with it and middle school with it. She graduated in 2016. I mean, the iPhone showed up around 2010. And so I'm telling you, it's just not good what we're letting happen to our kids, right? It's not a big deal for me as a teacher. It's really not that big a deal. I don't deal with it much. I don't see it much. I got a caddy as kids walk in my room, they put them in the caddy. And so it's not that I don't have an issue with it, right? But I just can't stand by and watch what it's doing to our kids. It's so bad. One of my favorite comments that a teacher put in their thing.
Dave, it's been almost 4 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll hear from me again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to PLC presentations. And the first one up is going to be, I believe, fourth grade. Is that right? Fourth grade PLC presentation, yeah.
Is there a preferred spot? Yeah, where would you like this?
No, but not
Front and center.
That's that driving over there.
Sure did. It's not interesting.
Keep going.
She was standing right here. I'm not kidding.
Thank you.
Hello. We're the fourth grade team. My name is Donald. This is
And Taylor Brashears.
Caitlin Fauna.
I'm Allison Critter.
Stephanie Shipman.
and we are going to share with you something that we've been working on in class.
So our focus for this presentation is going to be fluently subtracting multi-digit numbers. Using the standard algorithm, you would think by fourth grade, there should be like a really good handle on that. But we have to do some extra practice. And so this year for tier 2 at our school-wide, we're focusing on math. And so we really wanted to put an emphasis in setting our kids up to be able to do subtraction very fluently with up to 6 digits. So that it could translate to other math operations such as division, etc. I mean, it's something you guys would use every day.
Okay, so something that we use to help us know if they've learned it is called a CFS. This is really helpful for the students, so we use it with the students so that they know that they're successful, but it's also helpful for us because we are thinking about, okay, what is it that they need to have on their answer? So it's kind of just like a list of things that we go through, but it's a really great way to help them understand, okay, this is what they're looking for. It's very clear, it's concise for the students, and it's kind of like a model for them to walk through. It's also helpful for them to get feedback, and it's specific feedback. So, oh, you didn't start subtracting in the ones place or whatever it may be. And then another thing that we do to know that they've learned it is we do multiple fluency checks. So almost every, I would say every other formative that we do or quiz that we do, we have this kind of a problem every time. So it's spiraling, it's always happening so that they get a lot of exposure to it.
Can I ask one thing? Just with your acronyms tonight, would you mind explaining them? Just 'cause we have a new board member.
Yes, so it's CFS. Sorry.
In case you want to wear.
A CFS is criteria for success. So it's so that they know what they're doing and they're successful. So.
Okay, so what do we do if they're demonstrating that there's like a hole in their knowledge and they're not quite mastering that fluency yet? We have daily practicing and we do that in different ways in different classrooms, but it does happen daily, those foundational subtraction skills. We are doing an 8-week session of what we'll be talking about in this presentation was over 8 weeks doing tier 2 instruction, which is we have groups that are focused in on certain aspects of maybe that criteria for success, like, oh, you're not lining up in the ones place or whatever it may be. Let's send you over to this teacher or this group or whatever and really focus in on that.
And then going back to the CFS and having it be a student focused, like, okay, I have my problem here and now I'm looking and seeing, did I do all these things? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, right here's the issue. And then we go back and revise that math problem. And down here at the bottom, we have some images of early on in the year, module 1, topic B. So the very second quiz they took in 4th grade this year. And this was their fluency problem. In the 4th grade, they scored at 41%. So that means 41% of our 4th grade students solved the subtraction problem correctly. And module 3 end of unit test, which happened 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, they had another subtraction problem. You'll notice that the digits have increased, so the rigor is increasing as well. And we were up to 78% of the 4th grade solving it correctly. Oh, and one thing I do want to note on how we grade that, we don't do partial credit with this either. So if there's like a silly little mistake, we're not giving them half points. It's all or nothing, because this is something that is so critical to their math foundational skills.
And that's how we form the groupings. So it might just be, and targeting that specific kind of skill that needs to be honed in on. So it might just be the regrouping or understanding place value within the subtraction to help them understand it better.
Okay, so then we had, what do we do with the kids that they got it? We don't want them to sit and do the same thing over and over again, so then that's where we add in extensions like word problems, teaching the skills to pull out the information. This happened to be a 2-step word problem where they had to add and subtract. And it's a little bit hard. Yeah.
Now you try.
Within our, it's a lot of reading. Within our tier 2, we'll have some kids who will go on to this next step, or like right now, we still have some kids who are coming to see Donald or myself, for example, who are still working on mastering that regrouping with, or subtraction with regrouping. So that's really important that everybody has something that's meeting their. Go ahead, Tom. Thank you. Oh, and then, okay, so this is near and dear to our hearts. We, as a 4th grade team, have been working really hard to give our kids exposure to the SBA as the year goes on. SBA can have lots of different feelings, strong feelings. So we're embracing it because it's not going away and we want our kids to be successful with it. And you guys, they did so good. We have been kind of going at it as a whole group thing with our classes. End of our last unit, we gave them the focused interim assessment block for numbers and operations in base 10. So they were doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division at grade level. And they did really well. One of the things that they can do is that they can look at, we can tease it out and see which problems they did the best on and which ones they need some more support on. So that's really great. We can react to that and we can redirect with that. But you guys, we were ahead of the state on some good, which is really great. Our kids killed it. And even if you look at where we are as a school, we're still way ahead of the curve. So go us.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Also, like, one thing that we have noticed within our, we go from the PLC as a whole school, then PLT. Within the PLT, and I think of these PLT things that we do for you all is a way to kind of like sell it and make sure that that we still have it and that we're meeting some goals. It's important that you all know that like the work that we do within our PLT is hard. We really work hard we have like, there are 5 of us that have like all different personalities and have all different experiences within our teaching and years of teaching, that we all come together and then we have this vision of goal is supporting our students. And for us to do that, we have to put a lot of things aside in order to focus on our students. And the PLT time that we have, and when the agenda, because I'm the PLT leader for the agenda is focused on tier 2 intervention, we really look at the data and we really like just pick through it and see what it is that they really need. And then we always think about the students that have it. So what can we do for them? And it's a plug for you to communicate to families. Math facts. Please let families know that the math facts are so important, because what I'm noticing within my tier 2 group is that they get the process. They understand what's happening, but the they're making, I don't like to use the word silly or careless, but they're just making mistakes that are like 7+2 or 9+7, right? So that's where the mistakes are happening. So push for practice at home more than we do. So thank you for listening. Any questions or comments or deep-seated concerns?
The amazing part to me about this graph and data is like looking at the greens are amazing, the yellows are great on level, I'm assuming. But the minimization of the reds that you guys have is like half the amount of the rest of the state. And so those are kids that I can see being left behind for minimizing that group, and everyone's moving ahead. That right there is so cool, and it shows that your guys' techniques are working. So that's great.
I love that they're getting the process.
Mhm.
I mean, I would think that it was the opposite of that, where they could. Like speaking from my own math experiences that are not stellar. Yeah, that's an interesting.
And they learn different strategies. It's not just the standard algorithm that I learned 40 years ago. No, 50, 45 years ago. So right. So it's all like there's a learning like about conceptual understanding. That's what we're all about. That's what the math is all about nowadays. Which actually, what I was teaching in Massachusetts, and I found a book in my classroom from 1971, the year I was born, and it had the strategies we're teaching now in that book. It's amazing, like how it just comes around. Yeah.
I have the privilege of having Caitlin as my daughter's.
It's a privilege.
But we spoke at our conference recently, and I just really appreciate that you guys have rotation between teachers to help focus in on those parts where there's those key components are missing for students, and being able to key in on that. And then having their little girl groups where they all help each other, and Aria is just thriving. So thank you. Having those extra booklets at home, we've been doing all our math and applications. So you guys are doing great. Thank you.
I was gonna say, I appreciate the collaboration and the emphasis on looking at the data. We haven't always done that, so that really is making a difference. Sure.
And that's a lot of that comes from Rebecca and Nate and Tyler, for their pushing of, of the data. Encouragement of the data. This is important. Go data.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the Meridian Middle School PE board presentation with Courtney and Cindy.
It's been fun. Do you guys move the screen for us?
Pardon me?
Do you move the screen?
Just press down. I think
Oh,
it should go
okay.
next.
Oh, so we get to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys control everything.
Okay. Okay. So I'm Courtney Stacy. I am the 6th grade PE teacher at the middle school.
And I'm Sydney Gospinovich. I'm the 7th and 8th grade PE teacher.
So a standard we're talking about for our PLC cycle, this was from a little while ago, but the standard that was assessed and why we feel it's important is these are the standards for each grade level. So first, 6th grade is demonstrate rules and etiquette during physical activities and games. 7th grade is demonstrate knowledge of rules and etiquette by self-officiating physical activities and games. And then the 8th grade is apply rules and etiquette as an official for physical activities and games.
And then what do we do, or what do we want our students to know and be able to do? So we want our students to be able to demonstrate an understanding of the rules of badminton and be able to apply them to gameplay. We also want our students to be able to demonstrate spatial awareness by applying different shots within the games.
So this is the data that we gave our students, a 10-question like pre-test for my 6th graders, like not a lot of background knowledge. I think with badminton, they do a little bit hand-eye coordination, work with it a little bit. I don't think there's a lot of teaching of the rules at the elementary level until they get to middle school. And so
Pre-test, the average was 13%. Obviously, they're seeing 5 questions about the rules of the game, 5 questions about the different shots that you use for strategy that we teach throughout the unit. And then the post-test scores was 83% at the end of the unit. So.
And then for our 7th and 8th graders, they were also given a 10-question pre-test and post-test. So they had a little more background knowledge because of their 6th grade year. So we did see 33% for our pre-test average. And then when we got to post-test, we were at 85% for that.
So how will we know when they know it? So students playing games of, we start with a lot of one-on-one half-court games during the unit, and then move to a lot of 2-on-2, demonstrating and understanding the rules using the strategies, such as the different shots that we teach. Students can then officiate their own games or peers using the correct rules and etiquette of badminton. And then compare scores from the pre-test to post-test during the unit and use frequent check-ins to monitor their understanding of games.
And then what do we do when our students don't know it? So some actions we took is we provided visuals on the whiteboard that we'll see in a second for students to reference of different shots and what each line means on the court and things like that. Pairing students with someone who is proficient on the rules and strategies with someone and then who's still progressing with their understanding. And then we retaught cues and rules to the whole class and in small groups. And then we provided a peer referee or coach to offer support for the rules and scoring as well.
So this is just kind of an example of our whiteboard in the gym. Throughout the unit, we kind of add to it as we go. So for example, we kind of have the rules that are like our big focus throughout the unit, kind of add to it as we go. And then a drawing of the court, especially for like the visual learners, like we can show them the lines on the court or we can demonstrate the shots, but also like seeing a visual of it really helps as well. So each day throughout the unit, when we add in a new shot, like today we're learning the clear, and then we have a picture of it, and then we're out there demonstrating it with another student. And then maybe day 2, we're moving on to the drive, and then we're still focusing on like, hey, when you're warming up today, it's clear and the drive. And then so kind of throughout the unit, we're adding one usually each day or about every other day. And then those are kind of the main focus points. Like we always talk about, like, you know, badminton's an Olympic sport. It's played in the Olympics. And these are the rules that you would play by, because kids can't understand why they don't get to serve overhand. I'm like, because in the Olympics, they serve underhand. So really always kind of re-emphasizing, like, you know, that we have rules because this is a real game.
So what do we do if our students do know it? So we can sort them by skill level and comprehension of the rules to give them a challenge. Peer coaching and officiating, so helping out those students that maybe are still progressing and learning. And then we offered extra gameplay during win time and a final tournament during lunch for some students as well.
And I asked, how was the buy-in? Like, were kids excited? Do you think that?
I think that our badminton unit has the most buy-in, I would say. I think most students, even students who don't necessarily love PE, feel like they can really get into it and feels a little more accessible to them, I think. I think they feel a little more comfortable playing, and with it being slower pace, I think they grow confidence quicker. And we offer like shorthanded or long-handed brackets, which I think is really helpful for students to kind of find what works best for them and kind of make it their own. Yeah.
I think also, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think that we start our year with our soccer unit, and then we go to ultimate frisbee, and it's a lot of team sports. And then all of a sudden now it's like, oh, okay, I only have to worry about one other person or one person with me. And we kind of go back and forth each day too, of like, today you get to pick your partner. Today I'm grouping you because I want to make sure that you're understanding it. I'm gonna group you with somebody that maybe is fully understanding it. Maybe you still have some work with understanding the rules and stuff. So there's a lot more, I feel sometimes like choice in this unit with partnering or where they want to play with skill level and stuff. So
How many students participated in a final tournament?
Oh, goodness.
well, like every class does a final tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the seventh and eighth grade do like a double elimination tournament, but then like if their team was done, they still have like another little tournament that they go on and do. And so then the winners from each tournament, from each class period got to come in at lunch to do like the final tournament.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's sweet.
when you started, how long did this go for?
3 to 4 weeks. So for sixth graders, that is every day, like a Monday through Thursday, and then Friday's like our game day. So we take the day off of like the sport unit. And then seventh and eighth graders is
Every other day, but we also offer lifetime PE and those students have it every day.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
When you do game day, what do you do on game day? Just
it's like more like it's their favorite day of the week because they don't have a workout. There's no workout on, they do a workout Monday through Thursday, but then Fridays they don't have to do a workout. So it's more like elementary games that you pull in.
Kickball, something like that.
Yeah, we do like scooter relays. Sometimes we borrow the scooters in the elementary school. We just actually finished a 4-week Olympic unit of like Winter Olympics, and we did curling with the scooters. We did bobsleds with the scooters. I don't know, but anyways, yeah, that's what game day is. Like lots of random games that are not like a pickleball or a volleyball or
yeah.
Speaking about pickleball, that's something, because I just noticed the last 3 years, it seems so popular.
Oh, yeah.
among the Seniors, if you will, and some, is that something you teach that?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I heard that people just love it. Once they start playing, they said, this is just, because at any skill, age.
Everybody
Just
should play
play it.
pickleball.
We don't have a pickleball court here, right?
No, but they just
Converted the.
put up
tennis
a
court?
tennis net recently. They got a tennis net put up. So I see a lot of kids out there. They're kind of playing this game called Nitro Ball, which is like with a volleyball, but on like a lower net, and
Yeah.
it can bounce. We've taught them in PE, and then I see a bunch of eighth graders out there at lunch playing it. So
It's a good little
sweet.
segue from volleyball to badminton, pickleball, to kind of introduce them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Quick question, your assessment is on the understanding of the rules. As they acquire the understanding, do you see their performance in the games?
That's a good question.
I would say so. I think that, I mean, competition level definitely increases, and they're holding each other to the rules a lot stricter instead of just kind of
Yeah.
going about it and getting the feel for the game. I think they're definitely calling each other on things and,
Maybe some strategizing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Meridian High School Math, PLT presentations. We have Mr. Schick, Calvin Ringen, Dave Brennan, Colin Magnuson, and Nate Button. Welcome up.
Thank you. Are we the last PLT to go?
You guys are, yeah.
The rumor's true. Saving the best for last. That's what Sean told us. Oh, way. We're gonna leave it. It's gonna be way more exciting than pickleball and badminton. Well, welcome. Thank you for doing what you do and being here and letting us come and present our math PLT. We're made up of the math department, which consists of 4 certified math teachers, plus 1, that's me, I'm the plus 1. I'm a special education teacher. I do teach 1 pre-algebra class, but I was asked to join the math PLT this year, and it's been an absolute delight. And have a great time working with these guys. I spend a lot of time in the math classes, supporting students with IEPs. And we had a through line class this year of geometry. So each of the 4 teachers teaches 1 geometry class. And so we gather every Friday to talk about how to make geometry better for students and how to teach geometry and raise test scores. So we're gonna get into that, but this is our team and Dave Schick and Calvin couldn't be here today. So maybe we'll see him next time.
Quick clarifying question.
Yeah.
So is geometry taught 9 through 12? Is it offered to each? I didn't think so.
No, it's 10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. And freshman.
And
had some freshmen. Yeah.
I think this is mine. So PLTs, a lot happens PLTs. And so when we said, what are we gonna talk about when we go to our PLT presentation? We said probably trigonometry is the easiest one to like kind of check the box about what we're supposed to talk on the PLT. Try to incorporate some of the other side, I'll call them side benefits with some of the other things that happen with PLT. We chose solving right triangles with trigonometric ratios and Pythagorean theorem. Now, does that sound better than pickleball? That's probably the best skill that we could come up with for kind of the demonstration of why is this the real world application. I kind of hitting these in a little bit of random order. Why do we think that matters? You know, for somebody who's going to graduate from high school, that's probably the most likely thing that they're going to use a high school math, a high school geometry class skill from. Roof pitches, grades, that basically relates angles and distances. In terms of academic progression and secondary education and college education, trigonometry is kind of it's like Common Core standout, and it's going to be one of the SBAC items. But also the right triangle trigonometry, so looking at the angles and distances in a triangle leads to trigonometry on a unit circle, which is kind of leading into calculus and harder math. And it gets a little bit harder for me to explain because it gets to be pretty complicated math. But I think probably there's a good balance of the who wants it in the real world and who wants it in academics. We broke it down into some learning targets that are, some of them are progressive and some of them work together. Solving proportions would be an algebra standard, but we would go through and reteach that. Just using a calculator to evaluate trig functions, there's complications there that we need to go through and make sure people are fluent with that. Looking at triangles and identifying the parts of the triangle relative to the angle, the opposite, adjacent, the hypotenuse, and then knowing the definition of the 3 basic trig functions and how those relate to the different sides of the triangle. So those were learning targets that would be in parts of lessons that we would, within the lesson, be able to say, check, I think we're good with that student knowing how to do that. Let's see, talked a little bit about just how right triangles lead to other parts of the geometry courses about doing dissection of the shapes. And do we have another slide about that one? This was just, just kind of a little bit of a, hey, look at that, that's kind of cool, but also just making the work that students are going to do accessible to them. It's a poster from my room, and this actually isn't one from the right triangle trigonometry. This was from, well, this is from Similar Triangles, which is a building block of the right triangle trigonometry. It has some vocabulary pieces in it. I put it in English and Spanish. It has vocabulary pieces that are highlighted in colors. I try to make my fancy doodles about what reducing and enlarging is, zoom factors, some of the vocabulary words, and then we're actually now talking about congruent triangles. At the time, we were talking about similar triangles. I get some fancy points for calling it an anchor chart, I guess. It's like what students anchor their understanding from. And it's basically something that you put up in the classroom that while I'm talking, and they say, man, I'm tired of listening to this guy. Okay. And I can really, I mean, it allows students to not just get it from me, but they can see what's on it.
All right, this is me.
This is you.
Okay, so the scene is set. We have a standard in sight, standard in mind. We have something that we're kind of trying to convey to our students. And so kind of throughout the chapter in which these trig ratios are introduced, we have to cyclically assess our students and make sure that they're kind of grasping onto each of the concepts and each of the foundation or stepping stones as we move forward. That said, I think you can assess students at different levels and different times throughout chapters. So I kind of like to think of 2 different categories of assessments. You have kind of your informal ones, such as observational data or conversational or even the classwork or homework. So throughout class, I can kind of walk around and see how things are going on with our students and how they're interacting or engaging with the material. Through conversations or questions that the students are asking, I can kind of assess the language that they're using, the specific places that they might be getting caught up on. And then finally, of course, classwork, homework, because they can kind of use supports on those things, they're not quite representative of their own individual knowledge. So classwork, they have peers to collaborate with. Homework, they have some notes and maybe some outside resources that they're welcome to use. On the flip side of that, you have your more formal assessments, things such as quizzes, formative assessments, kind of like your checkpoint test or your practice test. And then finally, the big bang, the summative assessment, that final chapter test that really kind of encompasses that individual learner's knowledge and competency of said standard. Informal, a little less low stakes for students, formal, a little bit more high stakes. So something to kind of consider is how we might analyze or like use these results. For your informal assessments, I'd argue that it's more of a teacher's tool to use in the moment or from lesson to lesson. So maybe not necessarily collaborating with our PLT members, but just kind of adjusting to the populations that we have in our own individual classrooms. Whereas those high stakes or like formal assessments, that's a chance for us to kind of check in with each other and see how things are going and start to have those critical conversations with one another and then talk about the instructional strategies. Can I see the next slide? So here's an example of some student work on a formative assessment, a practice test question. Just kind of thinking out loud about how I'd approach this. I think the student did a really great job at knowing the definitions of those basic trigonometric functions. They're using the proper trig function for each of these problems. But at this point, this checkpoint, I'd argue that we're lacking a little bit of work on isolating or at least showing our steps from our setup equation to that final answer. Part B, it looks like we didn't quite understand that we needed to isolate that variable of interest. And I don't know if that was on our end. We did say, find the value of X, and I see an H right there. So kind of taking that into consideration of like, is this kind of a fair deal or was there a misconception here? And then finally, this last one, I think there was a bit of a solving strategy mishap. The setup, fantastic. But I think there's a little bit of a red flag with that answer, just kind of considering the fact that the hypotenuse is going to be the longest side of a right triangle. That's 10.9, and I see a height of 14. So it's like the setup, the solving strategy, not quite there, and then just kind of that conceptual understanding of what hypotenuse is. I go back a slide, actually. So there was an example of a singular problem. So now what do we do as a PLT to kind of analyze the test results? Something that's very, very valuable, but requires vulnerability is the skill and willingness to partake in like critical conversations about what we're doing as individuals in the classroom. And we'll see that in the difference in test scores. We kind of question each other, what's going on there? How did you approach this? What supports were you giving? And so that might constitute the discussion about the language that we're using. Is everyone getting a similar experience across the classes and so forth? And then of course, we would love to see an increase in test scores from that practice test, that checkpoint to the summative data. Sweet. Okay, so go ahead, pretend that right side is not there yet. Just hypothetically, we're at a formative test. All of our classes have taken it. We have a chance to compare scores and see how things are going. This is a chance for us as teachers to talk about horizontal alignment. Like I said, kind of like creating commonalities between the classes. So as we identify different averages, there's a few things that we can take into consideration. The populations that we have in our own individual classes. So MLL students, multi-language learners, IEP students who have their independent or individual education plans. Maybe we have some 8th or 9th graders that are ahead a course or two. And then, like I said, it's a chance for us to be vulnerable and talk about what differences are going on, how to create the commonalities and kind of fix things moving forward. So now, jumping from formative to summative, this is a perfect chance for us to reflect on how things have gone this year and what changes we might make for the following years to come. And so talking about instructional strategies that we would continue or discontinue, some ideas that we may have to support students, such as labeling the different sides of the triangles or color coding, etc. And then finally, really taking a gander at the different standards each of those questions are representing and kind of questioning ourselves. Do they need these things for the next math class? Do they vertically align with the next math class? And if they do, and we're seeing deficits, it's a chance to kind of create a little bit more spiral review to prep them for that next course there. And then the last thing I'll say here, we do like to see how our specific students are doing from our MLL population and our IEP population. It's a chance to talk about successful modifications or scaffolds that we can provide our students. And so just kind of getting a chance to try new things and collaborate there.
Great. Well, it's me. So what are we gonna do if they don't learn it? Well, number one, we have T3 sessions 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And these math teachers, they're like a dog on a bone when it comes to this. They identify these kids, okay, they need help on this test question or that test question. They pull these kids in and they'll reteach, they'll fill in the gaps. We've also started to share students. Maybe students from my class would go to Colin's class because he's working on a specific skill that day. Supplemental materials. If a student says, oh, I'm all booked up for T3, teachers can say, hey, I'm available before school, I'm available after school. Pick a time. Also working with the IEP teachers and the ML teachers for those students that have specific needs. And last but not least, and this is not an exhaustive list at all, but parent communication. So if a student is really bombing a formative, maybe there's an attendance issue. Maybe it's a call home and, hey, how come Johnny's not getting to school? What can we do to support Johnny? Or are there any barriers that we're not aware of as teachers that we can address? And so what can we do to help? Basically, it's the phone call home.
Wait a second here.
Yeah.
I just had someone tell me, I know you're gonna be able to tell me, we're in the business of learning, not teaching. I think it's something like that. And the slide really isn't, what do we do if they don't learn it? The slide is, what do we do if we didn't teach it? And I just wanted to actually kind of stop a second because like we have 4 math people here and we do our thing and we do our business and we've been in the business a while. And I want to kind of, Nate said, oh, I'm just kind of along for the ride. I want to point to Nate and say he has been really instrumental in getting us thinking about when we see students that don't learn it, we really cannot just say, well, they didn't learn it. They're going to need to do something about that. And it really is on us that we are the people who are responsible for learning. And so, I think part of what's happened in our PLT has not just been kind of these, you'll see a lot of these things, but a real shift in mindset of, no, we have the responsibility. We are the people who own this and we need to figure out what we're going to do with it. We can't just say, oh, that student needs to come to school more, or they need to study more. No, we need to figure out what we're going to do with it. So you're a pretty instrumental. I think connection might also say, so there's kind of these levels of intervention. One, how we respond if we learn it. Enrichment activities, I think, are probably our biggest thing. And I'm going to say, I think a room for growth for us is not just enrichment activities, but providing higher levels of learning, of deeper levels of knowledge. And that happens from enrichment activities. But I think that would be where we could grow the most in pairing our interventions for students who are struggling with interventions for students that can take it to the next level. I think we have some, so let's see. There's some examples of some enrichment activities on the next slide. There's some slides and we can look at those. And do you mind going back a second? I'll show you. These are just kind of student, what's the review around?
That'd be me. I'll just quick glance at it. Just kind of giving students the opportunity to choose what they are going to work on throughout the class period. So if a test is approaching or a plethora of information has been tossed their way, they have a chance to decide which table they're going to be at. And of course, they're all split up on different concepts or strategies or skills. So that's just student choice.
Quite literally.
The peer tutoring is not formalized, it's not a after-school program, peer tutoring, but just by the structure of our instructional strategy of having cooperative groups. Engaging students to help other students really, it gives students purpose in what they're learning. It helps them process what they have already learned to, how are we gonna explain this to a student? So I think that improves their depth of knowledge. And then, can you go to the next slide now? This was, I mean, part of this is just, I want to show it to you because it's just so cool. This is from Jose can I say the person's name?
Are you giving them kudos?
He gave me this piece of paper. I keep it on my wall. It's from a former student and the joke is the guy's like, they give him a ruler and he said, hey, go find the height of the tree, and he does a bunch of math. And then they kind of make fun of him because he could have just measured the tree. But he does, and it's like the cool part of it is all that, you know, deep thinking here is actually Pythagorean theorem stuff. So that's kind of fun. And then another one that's a little more, that's from, I think, maybe 8 years ago. And then another example, this was Mr. Schick's kind of a bonus opportunity. And was that like a bonus points or just bonus cool points? Kind of all the above. Make your own application problem for a triangle problem. And then that problem goes on a test and people can do that for their test problem as a bonus problem. Next one. Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. So, you know, I'd say we have 3 points about what the takeaway from our PLT is. These are really like practical points that you can point to and they kind of look at they fit in a book and they fit in what we learn about PLTs, what we're trained about PLTs. There's a lot that doesn't fit in that list. I kind of spoke about that piece about changing our perspective about how we see teaching and how we teach students. And I think that's been a big thing for us. The items we listed are kind of checklist items. Vertical alignment, really, as our curriculum has changed, we go to different curriculums for different classes. It's really easy to lose sight of kind of what gets taught and at what depths at different levels. And so just before us all being in the same room and talking about, well, you teach that in pre-calc, right? Well, yeah, but I've noticed that we haven't really covered it in algebra 2. So just maintaining what do we really need to teach in geometry for students that are moving to algebra 2? And also just what do we really not need to teach in geometry that is not a skill that a person who's going to take algebra and geometry and take a third-year math class, what are those not critical skills? Just being thoughtful about what we teach and what we don't teach. So that's been a big opportunity for us. Sharing teaching practices, I think that's demonstrated in, you know, just I use this worksheet and I use this vocabulary and I use these questions. Those are the real objective things. But I think like your teaching philosophy and how you're approaching students has been a huge piece for all of us about, I hadn't really thought about that. And it's been really, I think, valuable for all of us to just hear other people's ways of thinking about how we do school. And then horizontal alignment, just making sure that everybody who takes geometry really has a similar experience that, you know, man, Brandon, that guy, he's a mean one. I hope you don't get his class. You know, we make sure that we try to make sure that our classes are actually comparable in their rigor and comparable in what they teach.
Then I'll take that second bullet point. What do we learn about students? Every student is a puzzle. And, you know, as teachers, we have to humble ourselves a lot of times and say, I don't know how to solve this puzzle. Let's figure it out. So we do a lot of kid talk. We want to continue to do more kid talk to figure out what these kids need and how to best serve them and how to best help them learn. So thanks for listening, and we're open to questions.
I just want to say math is hard and you guys make it sound fun. So thank you for having a positive attitude. Really appreciate that. So thank you.
It is fun. It's fun.
Yeah, you always come here super positive.
Yeah.
And I really like that a lot.
The math energy is up here.
Yeah, I would have liked to have taken your class.
Come to my first period class and help me get them pumped up.
Okay.
No, it's true.
I'll second that. I get to go into each one of these guys' classrooms and I love it. They just do such a great job, so.
It's really great. And then when we hear about like fourth grade math, right? We hear them and see what they're doing, then I'm thinking about how that's going to translate into how you're gonna get them. And so it's kind of cool. And then, and what you're doing is, yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you, we hear about the ML students and our IEP students and closing the gaps and looking at those things. I absolutely love that you recognize that we have an area of growth opportunity for our high achieving students as well. So that we are continuing to set that bar higher and higher for academic success. We don't want bored students. So I do appreciate that you can recognize that there's some opportunity there that we're
Yeah, it's true.
And I mean, we have college in the classroom, so there's cool things that you're doing. So thank you for doing that.
But we want, I mean, we want to see that at all the levels, you know, that college and the high school classes. You only get to that by 11th grade, and so in the 9th and 10th grade, there should be those chances for increased rigor too.
Appreciate that very much.
I want to commend you as a group. I think talking about the mindset shift, and you know, we've shared it in other terms, differentiation and you know, equity of instruction, is that not every student needs the same thing, because that therefore you have the puzzle. I didn't hear anything about students aren't coming with it. What I heard is we're going to try and figure it out, and I really appreciate that.
I have adopted you may have seen the no one's coming to rescue, be prepared to self-rescue. It's like no one's fixing this for us. We are the people who are in charge of serving them, and we can't just say, oh, I don't like this situation. No, that's what we get served.
Thank you.
And you guys make it fun for the students coming.
Yeah.
Even my kids are long graduated. Our youngest one, a daughter, Kaylin, she loved your class. She loved math. She did, I mean, to her, it was fun. She could, you know, the things that she could do coming out of your class are just amazing, where she would help me sometimes. So, you make it fun. You do a great job.
Thank you so much for everything. All right, on to reports. Meridian High School school report with Principal Sean Doffman, sorry.
Welcome back. No, thank you. Right. Hello again, everybody. So going to talk a little bit about what we have going on at Meridian High School. A big part of these presentations is to give you an update on the school improvement plan and that work that we've been doing. You know, we introduced that in I think August, and so a little revisit on that among a couple other things. So just a reminder that I won't go through the whole process, but last spring, the leadership team went through about 5 of our meetings, of our hour-long meetings, going through data, developing priorities, and just really identifying where we wanted to put our goals. There's a million things we can focus on, and we wanted to narrow it down to 3. And so those are the 3 goals we're going to go over real quick. The first academic goal that we had was by June of 2026, the 9th grade on-track rate for Hispanic students would increase by 15% from 72 to 87% to be on par with all students. So that was first semester data last year, 72% on track for Hispanic, 87% for all students. And in the first semester this year, those numbers raised from 80% to 89%. Couple of things about that. We closed the gap a little bit, not to exactly where we want to get to, but we closed the gap a little bit. But I'm also super stoked that the numbers went up based on we've had a 9th grade success team for the last 4 years. And this year, the funding from the state was cut for that. And so we've had to really scale back on the work that we did there. But this is just evidence and proof that the teachers, the work that we're doing, the things that we learned during that stayed there. I was nervous about these numbers for a little bit, but they did end up looking good. So some of the Oh, and then academic goal number 2, we don't have the numbers for this yet, but we wanted to the percentage of multilingual students meeting or exceeding annual English language growth targets will increase by 15%. We just finished the WIDA testing at our high school, so that we'll have some numbers there. I'm feeling confident though. I think that we'll be doing good on that. I'll give you an update as soon as we can. So some of the things that we did to increase, and some of the strategies that we focused on to increase these numbers and improve these numbers. The first one is we developed a walkthrough tool so that Rob and I, and when we go through to the classrooms, we have a little walkthrough tool that identifies ML practices that help our students meet those expectations. So it'll be things like having things written in 2 languages, like you saw Mr. Brannon do, using a lot of visuals, going at a slow pace so that students can keep up a little bit better. So we just have a little check sheet. We've had administrators throughout the district work on that with us. I think the increased focus on data through our PLCs and that work, it strips away some of that bias and really like, what are the numbers? And so in our PLCs, it's a lot of collecting data, analyzing that data, and then making instructional decisions based on that data. What are the interventions? What's the tier 1 instruction look like?
And then we also had our ML instructor do some PD for us, where our ML instructor broke down our student body into classifications of 1, 2, 3, and 4, ML level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then presented to staff. This is what you can expect an ML level 1 student to be able to do in the classroom. And here are strategies to support an ML level 1 student. It went all the way through 2, 3, and 4 and classified which students belong in each group so that teachers had targeted directions as to how to reach students within the classroom and what they're capable of within each individual discipline. Also, we did development where we gave staff like instant things that they could do in their classroom to improve connections with students. So simple things that didn't take a lot of thought to do. And we used the research that a lot of ML students and Spanish speaking students had given in reports about like when teachers talk too fast. We talked to teachers about slowing down during presentations. We talked to teachers about not using common language that is acceptable in the United States, phrases like, oh, we'll just play it by ear. Those type of things confuse our ML students because they're not part of their vernacular.
We also, this year, were able to expand our ML support. We were able to hire a second bilingual para, and she also spends time supporting our migrants population and their graduation process. We have targeted interventions. That was the theme of our conferences a few weeks ago. Like really identifying the barriers for students and then setting goals, setting plans based on the data. And then our student support team is made up of administrators and counselors, our case managers for our IP students and our ML case manager. And just looking at, again, students as individuals and what individual supports can we provide. And then we had our SEL goal, and this one is by 2026, the discrepancy in discipline referrals for Hispanic students will reduce to no more than 5% different than non-Hispanic students. This was one where we kept looking through the data as the leadership team, and this was just, it's one we couldn't ignore. The discrepancy was so wide. We knew this was a reach goal based on where we were at last year, but because it was so prevalent, we couldn't ignore it. And so we leaned into it and we owned it.
So as you can see in the first 2 bullets, that our Hispanic population is roughly 1 in 4 students, but they account for a disproportionate number of our referrals. And so we looked at what are some of the the referrals that we're seeing an excessive amount of, and we focused in on skipping class and tardy referrals. And you can see in that data that there is a disproportionate number with our Hispanic students. And so we were talking about and trying to identify what are
are students avoiding? It's very easy for us to look at this information or a referral and play the blame game of, well, they won't go to class or whatever. But we look at this from an ownership perspective of, this is a problem that we have within our student body. What can we be doing to change it? So we talk about building relationships with our students during these meetings. What is it that's happening in class? Or what is happening in our school environment that is causing students to avoid these things? So instead of looking at it as a student problem, we look at it as an us problem, right? How do we create an environment that students want to be a part of within classrooms so we're not avoiding class?
Before we move on from this slide, can I ask, just want to say a couple things? I really wish the LIA students would stayed for this, so we could ask them some questions regarding the slide to get some solid answers, because I love how you just approached that. And also just maybe when we get to the end, I want to know what time frame did we take this data from? Like, what is it, so maybe you can give us that.
Okay. Well, the time,
Like, when did the occurrences happen? Was it the beginning of the year, or was it from the beginning of the school year?
okay, so these are numbers from first semester.
Okay. Oh, sorry, did there?
I didn't say that, no. So it's a great.
First semester. Okay.
Yep. And it'll be great to capture that and then
Yeah.
look at second semester to see the growth.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And have you guys identified, because I mean, 23% of students are accounting for 50% of the tardies. Have you guys identified some of those reasons?
Some of the strategies that like we've talked about in terms of what you saw with the LIA presentation is, do students see themselves in classroom? Does curriculum reflect their heritage and their values, right? Do they feel comfortable here? And those are things that we're working on with our staff.
Yeah, so some of the specific things that we're doing.
Sean and I both have Compass students that we have identified and we use as kind of our North Star, for lack of a better term. And we interview these students probably every 6 weeks or so. We sit down and just have candid conversations about, what are you experiencing here, right? What are some of the strengths that we have at the school? What are some of the challenges that you personally have? And these students are from across the spectrum of our student body. And we use them as feedback for how we're doing as a school.
And then we won't go too far into it because we spend a lot of time with it, but the Latinos in Action class, that's probably a classroom I spend the most of my time in. It's the closest to my office, that's one thing, but also it is just, they are a group of students who they will tell me what they're thinking. And it didn't start off that way, but you go in the classroom, you keep asking, and once they can tell that you're listening, they really want to be honest with you. So that's been a big one. That student experience panel, like I'm pretty stoked that I was able to like not start crying when I just get so proud of them and the work that they've done and how great that they've taken on that role of being advocates and voice of our students. And then also the Kid Talk protocol is something that we did on Friday also, where again, we just do quick little round robins we identify kids based on some data. And what we were able to do is look at our students who failed a class first semester, and then just to look at it in a different way and refine our search. We took out students who had discipline issues and took out students who had attendance issues, and just use those as our students that we were going to talk about. And we were able to get into small groups and just talk about that student. What do we know about them? What are their strengths? So, really focused on a strength-based stance. What are the adult moves? What are the teacher moves and the activities that are helping, and get those adults and those teachers talking about what's working. And then what are the barriers? It was very like adult, like what are our moves? Not, they're just not coming to class, they're not engaging, they're on their cell phones, they're going to the bathroom, but like what is working to engage them?
Also, the Shine and Thrive Awards have been a really great thing for our campus as far as promoting the culture and the attributes that we want to see in students.
Had a great conversation with Lisa about a month ago where she said with these Shine and Thrive Awards, she was very nervous about them. She thought that she would see this discrepancy of all these kids nominated at the elementary school, and then as they progressed, fewer and fewer nominations at the high school. And she shared that she's had the most nominations from the high school and how engaged our staff is in promoting that. And so that's been very rewarding and a positive thing. She said hundreds more than the middle school, right?
I think she used the word embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. Also, our Global Connections Club has done things on campus to promote their club and promote awareness of different cultures. They've hosted our MLK assembly. They've had guest speakers on campus. They have a multicultural fair that's coming up next month. Yeah.
Oh, in May.
In May. Thank you.
And one thing that I missed right there I started doing monthly meetings with our cultural liaison, Alvita. I'm not sure how familiar you are with her. She is amazing. I mean, I just started that, like, let's see where this goes. And she comes in and she's like, she just tells me what's going on. Like, she knows these families, she knows these kids. The insight that I've gotten from her has been so instructive, and she just wants to help. She comes and meets with me, and we talk about some things. There's something attendance related, and Rob handles our attendance. And so then she's like, all right, let's get you in front of Rob. And so she's making phone calls, she's connecting with families. But she is a huge asset.
Yeah, such a critical partner for us.
Yeah.
Really valuable individual. Another thing that we are using as a gauge for success in promoting values that we have within our school is, what does our extracurricular involvement look like? And we've seen historically our involvement is going up. Our spring sports is roughly, we looked at the numbers, but 251 kids, which means roughly half of our school is participating in a spring sport, which we talk about a lot, about how do we get kids to identify with school, right? How is school something that doesn't just happen to them? Where are they engaged? And oftentimes extracurriculars and after school activities are our hook to pull in kids that traditionally aren't excited about school. And so the growth that we've seen in this area is very promising. We'll continue to grow in this area. I know we have a survey that either just went out or is about to go out, gauging our community for interest in girls flag football, which has taken off. And we saw just in January, the state championship flag football game was right up the road in Linden, and it was Linden and Squalicum. And we have a group of girls that are very interested in making this happen for Meridian. So we're seeing more and more involvement and more investment from our student body into our community.
One thing too with the extracurricular, we have our clubs, we have, the play, we have our band, we have a lot of things. We're just starting to work on capturing those numbers as far as that participation. But if you got a chance to go to the play, that's on an upward trajectory. Like, those kids are pretty special.
Another indicator, and this is something that Tyler and Robert and Kurt and I are all a part of our attendance committee, and we set a goal earlier this year of improving attendance in each building by roughly 5%. And we talked about the critical nature of this, and that all of the things that we think that we have that are unique and special to offer students, it really don't matter if we can't get them in the door, right? And so how do we get these kids in the door? How do we make school a place that we wanted to be? And the strategies that we've used this year, we've talked about, and we've seen through January, our school has roughly a 5.5% to 6% increase in attendance this year.
All right, so that's what we got. Thank you for listening to what we're providing, what we're trying to get done at Meridian High School.
Do they still call home the students absent? Do they call home, say, hey, just wondering how John's doing today? Is he feeling good? Or is he there?
We do, like, generally attendance secretary will call if we have excessive days of, so if we have 2, 3, 4 days of absence. Otherwise, my understanding is an automated call that goes home. for 1 day's absence, and I think there's a metric where it has to be more than half the day that they're gone before they get a phone call.
The email, if parents swear, whatever, I know my wife.
Yeah.
I always send us letters, so.
Yeah, we got letters.
There's letters.
We print a lot of letters.
Observations that I know you have a stated goal to continue to not only keep the ninth grade success practices, but also distribute them throughout. So, good on keeping that at the forefront. And I think in the same vein of, not blaming kids, the idea around leadership really matters, and it's reflected in all our district leaders, but can't ignore the disproportionate numbers. We can't just allow things to continue to persist. Making sure that the issues that are the issues are getting exposed and examined. That's awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
I like that you're spending time in the potatoes in action class. I would love to hear more about those same approaches applied throughout our building. Where kids do become comfortable and they start sharing more about what they're experiencing. We have a very diverse population, a lot of students in MERIDIAN. And if we could hear from all voices, that would be really great.
Yeah, I think, Michelle, that like the focus was, on our school improvement plan goals. But yeah, we definitely want to hear from all students, and that a lot of what we're finding, we do see those gaps with, ML and IEP and Hispanic, like we see those gaps, but so often the things that help close those gaps, they're not just good for those students, they're good for all students. And so that's something that we pay attention to also, but yeah, thank you.
I have 2 questions. Could we go back 1 slide? Can you explain this chart to me? I'm just having a hard.
Okay, so on the first column, right, that's the total number of students that we have enrolled. Okay, and then the second column, I'm a history teacher. Right? So this is in order to maintain 90% attendance, you're effectively allotted 2 absences a month. So students who have 2 or fewer absences, 4 or less, 6 or 8, right? And so it leaves us with this number of students are considered regular attenders. This number is not. This is our percentage of students that are attending 90% of classes, and this is where we were last year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, comparing it to last
Yes.
school year. Okay, gotcha.
And that, yeah, it's nice that we had a month of where it was getting collected from the year before. So we have that annual comparison.
Okay, so there are around 2 absences a month.
That's what the state qualifies as a regular attender, 90% of classes.
The flip side of that is I can't remember what's the term? It's not crisis, but chronic. So really, it's not an allowance. It's just saying if you're missing 2 days a month, then or more than 2 days a month, then that's chronic absenteeism. So that's really where that comes from. So to keep kids out of chronic absenteeism. Yeah.
My second question, if we go back to slide number 6 on mine, I'm not really far back, but the discipline data that you had, 23% of the student body is Hispanic. So we're saying that we have over 50% of the excessive tardies are Hispanic students. Are we keeping track of those students and if basic needs are being met at home, or what's communication like with families? And is that a factor that we're also tracking as well as like you said, making sure that students see themselves in the curriculum and that their heritage is reflected?
For sure. So much of those conversations are, how do I help you? Right? Can we get to a place where we both understand this is important? And we take attendance on a Monday 7 times, right? And oftentimes we'll look at the data, and if our metric or our measurement for a tardy referral is if students are tardy 3 times in a week. Okay, more than that triggers a conversation with me. And if a student has tardies that are showing up, maybe they got 4 tardies to their first class of the day, that's a conversation of, hey, what's going on? Are you having a hard time getting to school? What are the challenges that you have at home? is there a bus that picks you up? Do you get a ride? And is that type of conversation more problem solving as opposed to blaming or discipline or anything? Like, how do I help you with this situation? If the tardies are showing up after lunch, right? This is a conversation about like, hey, I need you to help me understand this. You're on campus, you're here, you've already been to classes. Why in the afternoon are we not making it on time? What's happening? And so they're more problem solving conversations as opposed to disciplinary conversations that I would see. Yeah.
So those conversations that you're having with students that are showing up late to first period, are those the numbers that we're seeing here? Are those, or are they excused because you've had that conversation?
At times, if it's a student that has a specific hardship that I know they struggle with first period getting here on time, right? If they show up with 4 tardies in first period, it's a conversation about, hey, how'd it go last week, right? Like I saw there were some challenges, but they won't get recorded as a discipline day.
Gotcha. But this is something where you do work in collaboration with Almeda.
Right.
Working with the families, that if there's a need-based situation.
And
that's not common knowledge, that's something that she's working with one-on-one with the family.
And we try really hard whenever we meet with a student, whether it's tardies or discipline in any nature, that we include parents in those conversations where they're notified, hey, this is what we met about, this is what we talked about. If you have any questions, we want to partner with you in this to help the student be successful.
And what does discipline look like when students are found skipping or have excessive tardies?
So for excessive tardies, our tardies policy is, I believe our first 2 referrals will be conversations, right? About like, hey, what's going on? And those conversations will never be eliminated from the process. We're always going to talk to kids about how do we improve here. Once we get to our 3rd offense for tardies, we start looking at lunch detentions. And one of the things that we use lunch detentions is a removal of free time. And also it's slight discipline, right? They still get lunch. They still get the opportunity to have a break from class, but their lunch is in the office and they don't get the social time that a lot of them are craving, right? And that's effectively about the extent that we're going to go is lunch detentions for tardies. We're never going to suspend, I don't want to say never, right? But we're never going to suspend a kid for tardies, right? Like we're not going to say you can't be here because you can't be here on time. That's not helping our students.
And Jasmine, there's definitely phone calls at home too. Rob's always on the phone. And Alvita, the first meeting that I had with the first monthly meeting, we had to start the year, we had maybe like 7 boys that, I mean, they just couldn't get to class. They just wouldn't get to class. And just talking about that with Alvita, she's like, well, who are they? And she wanted those names. And she's like, I will call their mother. And she called their mother and those numbers went down. Yeah.
Do they get to use their cell phones in detention?
No.
Put them in a little caddy.
They usually stay with Tammy.
Yeah, when they come in for a lunch detention, we have a couple of desks that are set up in the office and they put their phones on Miss McMain's desk.
Are we seeing that lunch detentions are successful?
I believe so, right? Our numbers are dropping. We have some students that habitually we deal with as far as it's a pattern behavior that they're really struggling to break, but they're far fewer numbers than we had at the start of the semester.
And one of the biggest things, one of the biggest philosophies that we have is it is that conversation. It always starts with the why, what's going on, and then the partnership with home. But yeah, then a little bit of removal of some privilege.
You have to be careful they're not tardies, so they can spend time with the 2 of you.
Well, we have to be careful that they don't want to spend time with the office ladies. It's like, but being so dang charming, Tammy.
Every now and then I hear restroom closures on campus.
Mhm.
Do you see that positively impact tardies when the restrooms aren't really available to hang out in?
I mean, it definitely, when we've closed bathrooms for periods, that it definitely has impacted what students are doing during class. Like it takes a little bit longer to go on a bathroom break, but we haven't seen a spike in tardies during that time period.
No, but it would actually decrease your tardies if the bathrooms were closed for hangout period.
Oh, I haven't really noticed that.
do you have to have bathroom passes to leave class still? Is that a thing? Do they trade phones for a bathroom pass or something? Get too into the weeds.
Some of our teachers have taken to interesting strategies with bathroom passes, and that like one person has, and I couldn't tell you what person, I just see a kids walking through, they'll have like a bucket with them and that's their pass, right? Yeah, and Mr. Ames has a football helmet and stuff like that. And so they've all taken on different shapes and forms. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your guys' strategy and thought process and everything. So.
Thank you.
Nice stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Sorry. Next up, CTE program.
Sean again.
Mr. Sean. Sorry, on your own.
Yeah. I was like, I'm surprised you were still there. I was ready to turn around and just be a ghost town.
They stayed for me.
When I got here for the history presentations, my water bottle was like down to here, and they were like, "Oh, don't use the water there." And I was like, "Robert, I need water from the office." Like, all right, let's go. So I was able to fill that. So that was helpful. All right. Second here.
Was it good when I'm all in one night? Or do you-
I love it. This is the best.
Nothing never.
Okay.
I think they need to work on their thread nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're talking about.
Yeah, that was a challenge thrown.
It was a total accident to so that we had more than they did.
Yeah,
I didn't even remember they were here.
yeah, I'm sure.
Just remember that later, okay?
All right, CTE. This is my second year as the CTE director. Keeping things on the rails and making a few changes. So I'll update some of those things, give you some numbers. We still have 3 programs. Agriculture is we have 416 students participating in those classes. And we have 12 different course offerings, so that's a lot of diversity there. And then family and consumer science, we have 106 students participating with 3 different course offerings this year. And then business and tech, 145 students participating with also 3 different course offerings. Our staff for CTE, we have a 2.0 for agriculture, and that is Mr. Feller and Miss Nichols. And then family and consumer science is a 0.7 FTE with Miss Scott. And she's 0.7 family consumer science, and then she also takes on a role with health, and she teaches 3 sections of health throughout the year. And then business and technology is Mr. McGrew, and he has a 0.4 leave, and so he teaches in the afternoon. And he teaches 3 classes. So we have some course equivalency, which basically means they get a CTE credit and they also get a core credit for these classes. So plant science, it's a CTE credit and it can be one of their science credits. Food science, same thing. And food science is actually a lab science, which is fantastic. And then we offer a course. We weren't able to run it this year, but we have it back in our course catalog for next year, Ag, Power, and Tech. And so that's a science one also. And then new this year, and we applied for it last year and were approved, is personal finance. And so that's one of our CTE classes that is also a dual credit class. So they get college credit and it's a 3rd-year math credit. And so by establishing those things within the business department, it's also can be a grad pathway. So that one was a big one. We were stoked about that one, hoping that one will grow.
That one hasn't progressed as a requirement yet, right?
It is not a requirement. So right now, students for their 3rd-year math, their options are Algebra 2, personal finance, and then we offer a Math 101. It's called Math 101, and that's a college and high school class through Central. And again, we offered it last year. It was in our course catalog. It was going to be the first year, and we just couldn't get kids to sign up for it. And so we really ramped up our marketing on it. I know more kids are signing up for it, but I'm hoping that it's enough to actually run run a course of it, because it's, again, you get that dual credit, so they get the college credit, so.
And that counts as a college math credit as well, personal finance?
Mhm, yeah.
I just text the man. Perfect.
And it's because we do our college and high school through Central, which is where I went, and I actually took Math 101. And so like looking through the syllabus when we were trying to apply for it and figure out if it was a direction we wanted to go, it's like, oh, I remember that stuff. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Nobody's teaching it right now. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we get enough to run it, and then we'll see. Grad pathways, we currently have 3. We have an ag to get a grad pathway through CTE. It has to have a dual credit, so it has to be a college credit. And then it's at least 2 high school credits. So that's usually 3 classes, a 1 credit, the college class, and then two more electives. So 2 credits total can equal a CTE grad pathway. So we have agriculture, foods, and business and marketing. And then pending for next year, we want to start combining those. And so we'd like to offer a agriculture and business, so that if a student was interested in agriculture, but also wanted to, there's a lot of business around agriculture, and then foods and business, that's that same thing. Kids who might be interested in running a business that deals with, the culinary sciences and things like that. So we will have those in place for next year, with then a goal for next year to start exploring more of those combinations. We can do, if we get some of our teachers conditionally certed for CTE, we can do like business and art, or there's literally over 1,000 combinations of CTE courses that we can turn into different grad pathways. It's just recognizing things that are going to be helpful for our kids, things that they want to do and that they'd be good at, but then also that our community needs. We're not just going to make grad pathways and connect classes just for that, for that interest. It's got to be something that matches our labor needs also.
Sean, what is the process of conditional certification?
So that they work through our HR department through Julie, and it's a relatively simple process, as long as it's something that we can prove there is a industry need for. We can get that teacher conditionally certed. It's like $85, and it's good for 2 years.
So it's much different than college in the classroom, where they have to have that as like their core competency. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and so so Latinos in Action is actually like, we're just doing the final little steps here, but that's going to be a CTE class. And yep. And so we will need to we have Kayla conditionally certed for the next 2 years to do that.
Great.
Yeah. All right. One other thing we offer that is pretty cool is we're partners with the Northwest Career and Technical Academy, the NCTA, that's in Mount Vernon. Every day we have a bus that goes down to the campus on Mount Vernon, and they're taking different, and I actually just went there this morning for a tour, and I took one of our counselors. Super cool. Like, just got to get into the different classes. They're doing dental, they're doing med assist, they're doing God, I'm drawing a blank, but they're video game design. Thank you. Yeah, keep them coming. There's a bunch of them. But it's just really cool. One thing I noticed with these kids when they're doing these skill centers, and it's hands-on learning, it's project learning, like they get so proud of the things that they are producing, and I would love for you to come and take a look at what we have here. You walk into the fire science classroom, you have 30 kids that all stand to attention, and they don't sit down until you say, you may be seated or at ease or something like that. Like they're up, they're in gear, they're running around the school, they're doing they're just so proud. I got to go out and watch them do one of their drills with the fire truck that we have on campus here that was donated from Linden. And they're getting the hose out, they're hooking it up to water, they're getting it going. They screwed up to start, and the instructor, Mr. Walrob, looked at me and he's like, "That was on me, Mr. Doc. I screwed that one up. That wasn't the kids." But the kids are like, "Yeah, he did screw up." Like they can identify it and they know what's going on. But in the welding class, you can see it there. So on campus here, we have fire science, a morning session and an afternoon session. Welding, we have a morning session. And then we have allied health, where we used to meet for these meetings. And then in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we have an open doors program. Some of the things when we're doing CTE, it's just such an important part of what they're doing is to find real world industry opportunities. So opportunities to produce for a high stakes audience while earning funds for the program. Plant sale. Have you guys been to the plant sale? Like my wife she gets me a list and she's like, get first in line, get the best ones. Like it's a real thing. And that this year is going to be May 1st and 2nd. We have 60 kids involved, and they'll be there for all day Friday afternoon, or all Friday afternoon, and then Saturday morning as well. But if you want the good stuff, I'm telling you, Friday afternoon, take time off work if you need to. Dozens of plants, flowers, the whole thing. They also do Valentine's Day floral arrangements, and so that's every year. That's what Mrs. Dauphin gets, is that arrangement. And then also the arrangement of the month club, and again, you better bet that I'm on that one too. Yep. I've seen yours with the little card. Yeah. Yeah.
My little nieces wanted to steal the chocolate candies that were in it, but.
Well, I hope you stop them.
Yeah. Very well assembled. It was, and it lasted a long time. And
we just threw the roses away from Valentine's Day. They last forever. Yeah. Yeah, they do a great job. And another one of those opportunities with our kids, when they come and deliver it, like they come into the office and there's a handful of them, like they're just ear to ear. They're just so proud to hand it to you. And you're right, the cards. Like one of the kids that, you know, I was the AP, I did all the discipline, and he's just been a struggle all the way through. But he came in and gave me the flowers, and like he signed the card Big T. And I was like, okay, Big T, thank you. Some other real world student industry things that we have going on, our family consumer science. They provide all the snacks and the beverages for our coffee cart. So our life skills students will take orders, they prepare and they deliver like cookies and teas and coffees and juices. And like, again, they're just so proud coming around delivering that. And you can just tell that because people are happy, like it's 2:00 and we're getting chocolate chip cookies and coffee, like awesome. So that's pretty cool. They do that in middle school and the high school. And then they also, just like at our last event on Friday, they made breakfast for our family consumer science made breakfast for the entire staff for the entire district. So they had eggs and croissants and all kind of pastries. Like it was really great. Yearbook is something that takes place with our business and marketing. And that's real world, making the money, making a product that's high stakes stuff. 81 graduation announcements already out, and with 12 business ads. And they do sports photography as well. So the 2014s up till this point, that's not including the spring sports.
I have to say, Gracie has an ad, and I just showed Jared, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
And the student that sent it to me, I was able to give her kudos and praise for, it was a one draft thing. Like she sent it, and I loved the first version. And so did Gracie, which I'm not expecting. But the care and the eye for detail and the professionalism, they're stellar program.
Yep. We also have community partnerships. Limitless Learning is a program that we've done. I think this is our 3rd year doing that, and it's a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Whatcom and Bellingham Technical College. A lot of the work we do with that organization, the work that we focus on is the high school and beyond plan, and just making that something that's as authentic and relevant as possible, which is a big lift. It's a really easy thing to just check the box on, and so that's what we spend a lot of time working on, is making the relevance with that. The Whatcom County Dual Credit Consortium and the CT Dual Credit Proviso, those are just groups that I'm on with Whatcom, VTC, the ESD out in Anacortes works on it. And this is just really we talk about these dual credit classes, these dual credit opportunities. Right now, it's a little bit of the Wild West with different colleges having different rules and different guidelines, different expectations for schools. So we're trying to align as best we can for equity and equal access. Other things that we spend time doing is learning trips. So Smith Gardens, Edeling Daily Farm, SVC Learning with Leaders program, the NCTA See Yourself Here, BTC Learning with Leaders, the BTC Tour Day, the WCC Learning with Leaders, the Northern Construction Career Day, and Agriculture Fair. This is all about just getting kids out into the community so they can start to see what's available to them, what opportunities they have. And then on the other side, it gives our community an opportunity to have an impact on what our students are seeing, what they're learning, what they're doing. That's what I got for CTE. Love to answer any questions.
Do you have the data on number of or percentage of ML students who are participating in the CTE opportunities?
No, I don't. That's a good one. Thank you. You always stump me at least once.
Your brain.
Yeah. I mean, it's anecdotal, but I will share it. Like, Mr. Feller, who's one of our ag teachers. I actually had a group of like 8 students come to request. They went through Alvita to come to meet with me to just talk about how much they enjoy Mr. Feller's class. He just, whatever he's doing, he's got like, it's a lot of the hands-on stuff, I think. And we talked about some of those things we're looking for with our walkthrough is, you know, are we demonstrating, are we showing, do we have visuals for students? And so I think that's a draw for sure, but I will look for that.
How do I sign up for this arrangement of the month club?
It's
Yeah.
it's limited. I think there was.
I had to wait a year.
Okay, so I gotta start.
There's up in middle school, apparently, they'll make it happen.
Okay.
What is there, 25 or 40 slots or something like
I
that?
mean, it is immediate response. Yeah.
Got in this year.
So like you sign up in the fall and then you. it's
I was
year
put on the
long
wait list last year, so when it opened up, I received
An invitation to, my goodness.
And
Okay.
Jasmine, it's kind of competitive, so let's not give her too many. Okay.
Yearbook,
Mhm.
there's like a change in the program that I heard is gonna be happening about like the selection process. What students are gonna be in it, because right now, me and Logan are both editors of
Uh-huh.
it. And so we're like wondering about next year, what it will look like, because kids have to know how to like use the right tools and stuff. And now
Yeah.
it's like being changed, so kids are gonna get like promoted, and I was just wondering what that process is gonna look like.
So we actually changed it last year to where students would register for it and then apply for it.
Okay.
And so we're keeping that same thing. From there, it's up to the instructor to recruit. So I'm sure that Mr. McGrew said, you know, you need to sign up for it, you need to register for it, right? And so my hope is that he continues to recruit for that class so that we do have students, because it is nice to have students in there year after year and have some continuity with that. So it'll be the same. Yeah,
Yeah, so a lot of tools you have to know.
for sure. And it's high stakes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So did you register for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job on trying to get alignment of those pathways, and I know you didn't mention tourism and hospitality and early childhood, because we don't offer them yet.
Yes.
But if kids sign up for them, but just even tonight, your girl that wants to do neonatal, like there's an option, right?
Yep.
There's some opportunities, and so, and the skill center classes also provide pathways, so
Mhm.
I think that alignment is really good.
Yeah.
For our kids, for a smaller system to have as many opportunities, combining the business piece with those. Good.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
On top of the principal stuff.
That stuff, yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
On new business, the first review of the CSG interagency agreement. Is that what Dr. James said?
So this is a contract with CSG Construction Services Group, which is an extension of ESD 112. They have an office in ESD 189, and you're familiar probably with Tex Laddish and work that was done a decade or so ago. This is a contract that helped us facilitate building the early learning center. And so one of the pieces that I would call out is the idea that they're going to actually help manage This is the work that Jay would have done if he stayed as program manager, but he didn't. And so we don't have in-house opportunity for that. So the funds that we've collected to build the early learning center is paying for this contract. It's part of how we actually are gonna, as a system, build this early learning center. And so it's the first reading and it identifies the different services. One of those services is helping to navigate all the requirements of the 8 or 9 different funding sources that we've accumulated. Again, not through local taxes. And so, but they all have different requirements, right? So, prevailing wage and things of that nature for federal. And so that's what this is. It's a first read.
This is the role that was utilized to the previous buildings because we didn't have anyone in-house at that time.
Correct. Yep.
Any questions at all? No. Next item, review and approval, the Hawthorne Learning Solutions Agreement.
Well, thank you. I'll back up one real quick. The other piece that you need to know is that Jay is now working, he was hired by CSG, so he is our contact person.
Great.
He has the
Good deal.
history and the connection and has been managing those grants.
Yeah, so
So
first says CSG, I'm like. You know, but, you know,
you're better now.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I hear you.
you know the text, right? I mean, text was that guy from CSG, he would call a school board member, hey, come look at this, what do you think? And I would show up and like, no, it's wrong, it has to be completely redone. Oh, okay, I see what he did. And then as soon as I leave the parking lot, he would call Craig Mitchell, hey, can you come in the school, I want you to take a look at something, run something by, what do you think? We're thinking about doing this. Yeah, that's good.
Are we
Okay.
guaranteed, Jay, though? Or
Yeah,
is he just
he's on the
one
team. Yep.
of many that we might?
But yeah.
If we go with CSG, so we went through a request for proposals and we did select CSG, so we have the benefit of Jay.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna take full ownership, and I mean, now I feel really good about that.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Because I mean, well, you, not to be this, when you were a principal, James look out the window like it's not even square, it's not even right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to rip it out at your cost. So, you know,
We worked it out.
we worked it out, we did, got a beautiful high school.
So Hawthorne.
Good.
So sometimes we have instances where a student receiving services did not get the services that they were promised. And when that comes to light, then there's something called compensatory services or compensatory support where there's an agreement to make sure that the student gets those hours. And so that is the case. And we are hiring Hawthorne Learning Solutions to provide those services for a student. It's typically because something wasn't done by our system. And so Aaron has asked for the board to approve this tonight. So it is the contract, it's approximately $13,000 for the hours that are required to provide those services. But he would like to be able to turn on this quickly to make sure that the student gets that process started. So that's the request tonight
Is that only students on IEPs?
for compensatory practices.
So I am pretty. Assuming there was litigation, something involved.
Not litigation, but there was a situation where we needed to make sure that we followed through on something that didn't get done. So this is how we're doing it. So there definitely was an agreement that took place for that. Yep.
And systems and processes have been put in place and
Yep. You ask me later, I'll be happy to share some more.
great.
So we're doing a review and approval of this tonight.
That's the request, please.
Okay, so we need to,
Yeah, does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Feedback from student board members?
Nothing on that. I feel like that's a good point, taking action and accountability plan, making sure students get.
One clarifying question. This is, this agreement is for one student or for a group of students?
One student.
Okay.
Any other questions or any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Hawthorne PSA agreement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and we have a subject C as well, which is to approve some student travel, which is a field trip we with today. Do we have any questions about that?
Let me share at least what it was.
Yep,
So
yep.
there's an ag mechanics competition. It's in Yakima. It came today with apologies for not coming soon enough, and it just happens to be the date of the next board meeting. So there's not an opportunity to bring it to you later. And so rather than put it into consent agenda at this late date, that we would do it this way. That's all this is student travel. So I asked for approval for that too.
Student advisory.
That's good.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve student travel for egg mechanics over at the Terry Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hoping we can hear about her experience.
What's
I'm
that?
hoping we can hear about her experience. She's the only student representing her. Five students.
Five.
Oh, five? Oh, I thought it was one.
One
Oh,
shot.
got it. One shot.
Here.
And they usually can report after
Mhm.
when they go to it.
Thank you for that.
All right, on to old business. Item A. Second review and approval procedure 2022P, electronic resource and internet safety. We have any questions, thoughts? Yep. Okay, student advisory?
Yeah, we looked over and all read of something like this in student advisory the other day. Most people shut up, was the big room, but yeah, we liked what we saw.
Can I get a motion? Yeah, good question.
No.
I'll make a motion that we adopt procedure 2022P, electronic resource internet safety as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, the next policy, policy 2023, digital citizenship and media literacy. Questions or comments? All right. Representative? No? Can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 2023.
I'm second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item is policy 2108, learning assistance program. Any questions or comments about that? Advisory? Okay, can we get a motion?
Policy 2108, learning assistance program.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next one, policy and procedure 3226, interviews and interrogations of student on school premises. Any questions around that, comments?
I'll motion to approve 3226 procedure.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, last one, policy 3141, non-resident students. Any questions on this one? Student advisory vote. No. Wait, you say no or yes?
Yeah.
You're good, okay. Okay, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 3141, non-resident students.
I'm second.
All those in favor?
Just want to advance.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item is the superintendent's report with Dr. James Everett.
Okay, so just a couple of things tonight. So I think go to the next one. A lot of what you heard around the CTE and the different things with the high school. And when Sean talked about the limitless learning, it's that idea of what can we do through our system to start building ideas for students to think about where is it that they might find an aptitude to do something well or an interest. And so we had our second annual, I think, career fair at the middle school. And this is a direct result of the involvement with limitless learning. And the partnership. And so Carol Stromberg organizes this event and then works with our counselors at the middle school. But what's great is the students are going through, they rotate through the different grade levels. They have sheets that has questions that they have to get feedback from people they check in with. That whole concept of planting seeds early is really what we're after. And so super excited about that. And you know, the idea, one of the things that we haven't really talked much about, but because of budget shortfalls, we shifted and we moved Robert to the high school and we moved Jill to the middle school. And then it just worked out over time that now Robert's at the middle school. But that through line from elementary with Jill at the middle school and then now Robert at the middle school, it's been at the high school and just the ability. So Jill just in being part of the Limitless says, you know, we do some things with students about reading. There's no reason, or excuse me, writing. There's no reason at the elementary they can't be writing about jobs that they might be interested in. Just bringing things to the forefront sooner. We're actually looking at our visioning group for the Early Learning Center, and Lynette Brower was in Texas with a group, and they were visiting an early learning center that they've got a whole room where it's nothing but earth moving equipment on the walls, and there's a big thing in the middle of the room. It just with young children, exposing them to different things just to be curious. So pretty cool. So the career fair was a great event and it was well attended, and we had a lot of people from the community there. We even had our own table. Should have had a picture of Lisa, but I didn't. And then March 1 through 4 was the national the pooling group that I'm a part of, and I think the piece here, what I want you to know is this is staff, and it's most of those folks from the border, superintendents from across the state, and it is pooling is not insurance. It is a organization of organizations that pool money together to protect their entities from HR misdeeds, extreme weather, sometimes healthcare issues, lawsuits. And you've heard me talk about MSOCs and the issue with the state not providing funding for MSOCs, materials, supplies, operating costs. One of the biggest ones is the cost for lawsuits because of sexual abuse and molestation. And Washington has assigned strict liability to districts and have tied sexual abuse and molestation cases are qualified as discrimination. Ours is the only state in the country that does that. And all they have to do is prove 1% liability. And we school districts have to pay these exorbitant lawsuits. So to be able to go to Olympia and actually part of when we were advocating, we had some meetings with individuals to talk about bills to change that law, to talk about how do we get school districts from not being fined in these situations. These are public tax dollars. They're taking money from kids. So frustrating. So there's been an active part of helping not only the pool, the way we serve schools to protect schools, but also it has a direct line to the experience that our kids have. So just want to share that. And so, yeah.
Does the 1 for 100 liability factor, does that only apply to abuse cases, or is that also health and safety or neglect?
I think it's sexual abuse. So it was actually a 1941 or 42 law. And so the state Supreme Court interpreted it to mean that it did mean it was discrimination when it's that type of case.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's only in those cases, not for all liability on the
Correct.
district.
Correct. So just a little window on the things I'm involved in that part. The Snuggle Up and Read. So there were several different categories of people. About 85 students showed up. It was the PTA. I read Dr. Seuss's Sneeches with stars on the bellies. And yeah, and those without those on Mars. And then we had someone from the county library system. We had hockey players. We had ice skaters. We just different folks, and went through 5 rotations. But that's been a good event. The other one, that I've got two slides here, but just, and I'm not gonna talk about them specifically, but these are pieces. I actually had a meeting with, other superintendents from the ESD on Friday, and so I wasn't here for this, but this is, information on the professional development day. And I hope you have a sense, just the way that they shared from the high school, what's happening, how well professional development is becoming a leverage point for our leaders in all of our buildings. And so, I would defer to Adrian, but she is, and I'll give you a second, but what I see is I see a through line from our strategic plan and then all the things that we're doing, that we're talking about. There's a natural step right now to be looking at what are we doing around assessment and how are we doing that as a system where it makes sense for students, so they don't have to go and, so Eden, every class you have, are there any two classes that grade the same way?
I wouldn't say so.
I would say you're right. And so kids having to navigate that all the time, per level, per building, is just something that never has been, and we have a group of leaders that are willing to attack that. So anyway, I didn't say I was gonna defer to you, but
so we had a really great, one thing I just want to appreciate is the principals over the last 2 years. As a team, they have really taken a lot of ownership of those professional learning days. So we've had them for a while and we've done them very, each building is kind of done their own, or the high school and the middle school have done some things together, but the last 2 years we've been all together. And so they actually led off by telling the story of here's what we've learned for the past 3 years, and teachers had a chance to kind of think about our data, which is getting better, and then the work that they've been doing together as a team. It started the day with that, and then every building was spending a little bit more time focused on like those strategic plan areas. So in the afternoon, like what John was talking about, their afternoon with their staff was really focused on those things specifically related to their goals, and that's it's been really great. They're just a great team, and they're really taking a lot of ownership over that. Staff are presenting with each other, and really great.
yeah, so I'll go back to 2018. We didn't look at data. We had feelings about what we thought we needed to do, right? We didn't really. And then we got caught up with COVID. And so after COVID, we really have focused on what are we doing and what are the outcomes and why are they not as good as they could be? And so, and it's kudos to our teachers because we aren't bringing in, like we used to go to Solution Tree. We're not paying thousands of dollars to go to somebody else. We have the talent and we have the knowledge in our teaching staff, right? So just super proud of that. And so these two slides, I know you're gonna do something for me in a second, but IRE did a lot around reading fluency and they've had great success on literacy, but really looking at reading fluency. The middle school, they were looking at student talk and formative assessment. And how is it that formative assessment is driving what they are trying to make sure that students understand as they move to the next thing. And so there's some information that Robert shared on that. And then I don't even have to repeat Sean's stuff because he did that tonight. And a big part of that was what Latinos in Action shared. And then also those 9th grade success tools. And then lastly, MP3, they've really leveraged learning walk protocols and how they are able to observe their colleagues and having conversation about instructional strategies. So in terms of professional development, I think it makes sense that we need to invite all of you to be here to be able to witness it as it goes. I think that's something that we should be doing so you can see it firsthand. And then Lisa has done just she's done a phenomenal job, but she had a thank you message that she shared with all of the staff at the beginning of the day on Friday. And I think some of the conversation that was extended to our ALT message came out of this, and it's just like, this is why we're here. This is why we're doing this work. And so I'll end, I mean, I have a thing about different dates coming up, but I want to end with this 7-minute thing, but the only thing I would tell you that I need you to be aware of is March 23rd to 27. I have potential jury duty.
I'll be there with you.
Really?
I put in for an exemption, see if I get it mailed, but I got the same dates already.
This is the third reschedule, so I'm gonna go.
Yells on this note.
What's the year?
All right. I'm done, but I would like you to see this.
I love the Meridian School District. I have found the teachers, the administrators, the support staff always ready to hear my concerns, problem solve, act as a team with kids.
Lo que el personal hace, yo aprecio es que lo que hacen para ayudar a mi hijo mejor es adicionarle de tareas especiales, ayudarlo en el problema en lo que él se encuentra. Mi mensaje de agradecimiento es, pues más que nada agradecer y reconocerlos a todos.
Unique opportunity to do a lot of collaborating, a lot of contacting, a lot of interaction with the teachers and support staff, PTs, OTs, SLPs, counselors, you name it, I've been there. And I have found that they are an amazing group of people who always put the kids first.
Esas llamadas telefónicas, esos mensajes gratificantes, esas actitudes que demuestran siempre que tanto los padres como los hijos están al 100% pendientes de las familias, sin importar si somos latinos o si somos de este país. Esas personas siempre están ahí para nosotros, para decirnos cómo están, para preguntarnos qué necesitamos. Ese sería ese punto más grande para decir gracias y para decirnos cuánto nos quieren.
They have to be able, patient, kind, understanding, they're cheerleaders, they're creative, they're flexible, and I so appreciate that hard work and that kind of never give up attitude.
La persona que lleva su asesoría, Mrs. McBride. Entonces, la quiero reconocer y darle muchísimas gracias por todo el proceso para su graduación. Es una gran persona y de antemano darle las gracias por el gran esfuerzo que hace para mi hijo como estudiante y como ser humano. Pues yo reconocería a todos los miembros personales, a todos por igual, por su gran trabajo, lo que han hecho.
But it truly takes a village to raise a child, and especially when those children are special needs, it takes special people. And Meridian is full of you, absolutely full of you, and I'm so grateful.
Decirles gracias porque nos han recibido como familia latina. Nunca en la vida pensé que en Bellingham, Washington, nos iban a recibir así, a pesar de todo el proceso que estamos pasando como latinos. En Estados Unidos, me siento en casa. Gracias. Here. I love about that she doesn't.
I really appreciate the staff here because they're very caring and they think about you a lot and they're always here to support you and they never doubt you and they're always here for you.
I like how when I'm walking down the halls, it's like I have to stop in every class. Teachers always standing by the door and talking to us and like ask how your day's going.
They're really nice. They help us a lot.
How much time and effort they give to the school
just how appreciative they are, the students, and how nice they are to everybody.
They're really kind and they help you learn a lot. Just really like helpful.
I like the people. I like the teachers.
They're just loving it there. Very supportive of me and like all the stuff I do, and they help me out a lot. So I'm really thankful. Thank you for thank you. Thank you for helping. Thank you for having fun, lessons stuff that we don't know, doing words and stuff. Thank you for being nice to me. I thank you for being kind and understanding. I like coming to school to like because I have a good connection with all the teachers. They're all kind and understanding. Agreed. I love that all the teachers at Meridian are so supportive of everybody and they always find ways to help the student.
Should always make me feel like they care about me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for helping me learn, and I want to give you guys a shout out because you're amazing. I want to say thank you to Miss Vance, my second grade teacher, because when I was in second grade, I wasn't that good at reading, but she helped me become better. I want to thank Mr. Dennis because he's like so chill and he lets us eat in his class. I would like to thank the Shipman for always being there to encourage us and helping us through everything. We never feel like we're being left behind. So, thank you to all my teachers for supporting me in every single subject. And yeah.
We would like to thank teachers for always supporting me in soccer.
Yes. I love you, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, Michelle, for being nice to me. Wait, right here? Thank you, Michelle. I thank you because you're a great teacher. Yeah, I like learning with you and I like to be your student. Thank you, Mrs. Heine, for helping the kids. I like your teacher Miss Walby. She was nice to me and I'm thankful because she was nice to me. And my first grade Miss Colin right now. Also, I don't want to thank my first teacher, Miss Iris. She was nice to me. I would thank them for just always being here and just being supportive for you and being just great role models. That's what I would thank them for.
So a couple thoughts, as you can imagine from our, families. Elvita got lots of shout outs because she is like gold for us. There's no connection for us if it's not through Elvita, but Elvita said, keep that out. She's very helpful. So, and the other piece, I said, so what did you do to prompt the kids? I just said, we're going to thank teachers and gave them microphones. So that was the only prompt thing. So there you go.
Any information from student board representatives?
We did have advisory meeting last week, it went pretty well. We went over we've been talking a lot about like AI usage in the school and media literacy, so we went over some policies. And like looked at a spreadsheet of all of it, went pretty well.
Awesome.
Nice to have you here, Ethan.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Things are going great.
Basketball's good now.
Yeah.
Track started, that was a nice practice today.
Oh, yeah.
Little wet.
A little bit.
That's so chilly.
70 kids? Yeah, but a lot of kids have already stopped. So Gracie was telling me this. 150 or 70 kids. Yeah, I think the first day.
Information from any board directors?
It's not on your calendar, the talent show is coming up, it's very exciting, always fun to support that with our kiddos, and then senior panelists are still needed, I signed up. I signed up too, I'll be there.
I will not be able to attend the next school board meeting. I'm gonna be chaperoning for the Washington DC trip. for 8th grade.
So let's us three connect.
I
You
sent
are
my
also-
message.
Which is
Yeah.
on the 25th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure we have a forum.
Yes.
So if there's a sense you're, of the three remaining, that's not, as soon as you get that sense, we need it.
Next get there today or tomorrow, so. Cool. Let's sign official documents and adjourn. Thank you.